Grenada assessing damage after a tropical wave causes major flooding. And in sport, Windies T20 captain says fielders set the tone for the side's win against Bangladesh in their first T20 encounter. I'm Nicole Best, and this is the Caribbean in 10 for today, August 2nd. I'll be back with the details in just a moment. The National Emergency Advisory Council in Grenada is today assessing the impact of adverse weather conditions yesterday, which resulted in 6 inches of rain being recorded at the Maurice Bishop International Meteorological Office. That's at the airport. A tropical wave interacting with the Intertropical Convergence Zone caused heavy rains and thunder showers across the island for more than 7 hours. Acting coordinator of the National Disaster Management Agency, Sylvan McIntyre, says initial assessments have already started and are being conducted by district coordinators in the various areas. The formal impact assessment will be done by the Ministry of Works in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance. A number of businesses, especially in the Grand Anse Montrouge area, were flooded as heavy rains transformed roads into rivers. The island's National Stadium in St. George's was inundated, with most of the water coming from the nearby St. John's River, which burst its banks. And there were several reports of landslides, flooded homes and roadways, and land slippages. McIntyre says today's meeting is expected to provide disaster officials with a clearer picture of the situation across the island. Over in Antigua and Barbuda, a 3-member team from CARICOM's Implementing Agency for Crime and Security Impacts is to investigate allegations against suspended Commissioner of Police Wendell Robinson. The police administration says the members of the team have been duly appointed and sworn in as special constables and will conduct their investigations during the coming weeks. Robinson was suspended in early April, weeks after the scandal broke surrounding his alleged sexual advances towards male subordinates. While he's being investigated, Robinson is simultaneously challenging his suspension for a thorough application for judicial review in the High Court. His case was adjourned from July 20 to October 5 due to the absence of his lawyer, who reported sick. Upon the conclusion of the investigations, a report will be submitted to the Police Service Commission. A police statement did not say whether the report or findings would be made available to the public or who invited the investigating team. Trinidad and Tobago's designated Commissioner of Police, Gary Griffith, says he's opposed to using a state of emergency as a crime-fighting tool. His position, which he expressed to TV6 shortly after Parliament voted to make him the country's next top cop, is in keeping with that of Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley. Griffith says there are other options available to the police force and the National Security Services, which he would rather explore. But he says the final decision is not entirely up to him.
Police Commissioner-designate Guy Griffith told the TV6 News by telephone that when he was the National Security Advisor, he was not in the country in August 2011 when the then Prime Minister, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, announced a state of emergency that lasted just over 3 months.
I would not recommend a state of emergency as a crime-fighting tool. However, that is not the role and function of the police service to decide for a state of emergency. That is done by the government. As the Commissioner of Police, I certainly would not recommend a state of emergency to reduce crime.
His comment is in keeping with the Prime Minister's stance on the matter.
A state of emergency will not necessarily give us the safety and security that we're looking for. There'll be negative developments on the economy.
Mr. Griffith said a state of emergency is not required for policing, such as roadblocks and stop and search.
What can be used is similar to what is used in other countries, where you have a national security alert state, where based on a threat, you can escalate a color-coded scheme whereby all the arms in law enforcement can very well be aware of their role and function and know what is required based on the threat.
One cabinet member told TV6 News after the lower house approved Mr. Griffith to be the next top cop.
Government would provide policy, the government would provide resources, the Office of the Attorney General stands ready to amend laws as we can.
But Mr. Griffith will also need the support of all of those in the police service.
Stay with us. Your midday sport is next.
This hurricane tip comes to you compliments the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and the Caribbean Media Corporation. Be prepared. Do not go outside barefooted or in slippers after the hurricane.
Guyana's first carnival experience has been dubbed a success. The festival, which kicked off on May 18th, climaxed on Sunday with the parades of the bands. Thousands of Guyanese from all corners of the country, as well as a large amount of tourists, on Saturday braved the weather and took to the streets of Georgetown to get a glimpse of the beautiful and earthily decked out men and women in their brightly colored costumes to celebrate the country's 52nd independence anniversary.
Captain Carlos Brathwaite has hailed the West Indies fielding effort in the opening T20 international against Bangladesh, contending it sets the tone for the eventual 7-wicket victory under lights at Warner Park on Wednesday. Opting to bowl first, West Indies restricted the tourists to 143 for 9 off their allotted 20 overs, and when their target was revised to 91 from 11 overs following rain during the interval, easily chased down the runs to win with 11 balls to spare.
The gusto that the boys went out there with, I guess it was best shown in the fielding effort, where the guys threw themselves around and we saved some runs. It was pretty even, Stevens. We got some early wickets which really just put us just ahead, but we continue to feel well. We continue to keep the intensity up, and the bowlers hit the mark every time they were called upon. So I think it was a very professional performance with the ball. Credit must go to Bangladesh for being in the position they were in, but sticking it all the way out and batting all 20 overs and even getting close to a respectable total after being 40-odd for 4. But I think our guys stuck to our guns, we stuck to our plans, we were very disciplined, and we executed the plans that we wanted very, very well. So I think from a bowling side of things, it was very, very professional, and the fielding only added to that professionalism.
West Indies found themselves in early trouble when opener Evan Lewis and Andre Fletcher perished in the second over with the score on 10 for 2. But man of the match, Andre Russell, showcased his explosive hitting skills, counting 3 fours and 3 sixes in a 21-ball unbeaten 35 to revive the innings and to take the Windies over the line. Left-arm fast bowler Mohammad Irfan has been named to replace fellow Pakistani Juaid Khan in the Barbados Tridents for the Caribbean Premier League, which bowls off next month. Of course, we're going to give you that story and more in our Caribbean Newsline at 6:30. Join us then. Good afternoon.